Hello and welcome back for episode 4 of my true crime series, Eros on Trial. Let's talk about the FBI. In our last episode, we talked a lot about Ellen Hewitt, the Bloomberg girl who wanted to go viral and decided orgasm was just the ticket. Not orgasm itself, obviously. I think she might be erotophobic, but writing about it. Policing it. She's really made a whole identity out of it. And then we have the federal version. Elliot McGinnis, FBI.
He's a bit like if a Best Buy manager radicalized after watching a YouTube video about female pleasure being a threat to democracy.
He didn't stumble into this case. He became obsessed with it. Began to investigate One Taste, and slowly it became his thing, like emotionally, existentially. He attached his identity to it. You could almost see the moment in his head when he was like, I'm gonna be the one to take down those orgasm ladies. I want to start with the darkest part of what McGinnis did in all of this, with the real people who were involved in this whole thing, like Alicia Price. Alicia had been involved in One Taste, had a lot of experience with it. She was honest and told him she wasn't a victim. She said she benefited from the practice of OM and her time at One Taste. And instead of listening to her, McGinnis tried to pressure her into saying that she had been harmed. Told her to rebrand her story. When Alicia said no, he scared her into going along with the false narrative that he was constructing for a time, until she broke out of that narrative and began posting about her experience quite a bit on social media. That's not protection. That is cult behavior. Except now it's wearing a federal badge. This is the same exact formula that McGinnis used in questioning other women who had been part of One Taste. If you can't find victims, just make them. And why, you may ask, would the women go along with it? Because in the war on sex, women are given two options for roles to play, victim or villain. McGinnis basically said, be a victim. And if you're not a victim, I'll be coming after you next. And that brings us to Rachel Cherwitz, former head of sales for One Taste. Rachel was originally approached by the FBI as a victim. Same exact playbook. Tell us it broke you. Tell us you were misled. Give us the tearful arc. But Rachel said no. She wasn't a victim. She believed in the practice. She still does. So instead of honoring her agency, what did they do? They flipped the script on her. They made her a villain. They indicted her. I need you to understand how crazy this is. They sent 20 FBI agents, armed FBI agents, their guns pointed at her. Helicopter flying overhead, like it was a terrorist cell. For what? A conspiracy charge with no underlying crime? No trafficking, no fraud. Just a woman who refused to collapse for their narrative. Kash Patel, come get your boy. He's out here staging a Homeland episode over orgasm and embarrassing the entire federal apparatus in the process. Oh, but wait, there is more. McGinnis's relationship to star witness Aries Blank. Aries had learned the practice back in the day and loved it and became the head of sales for the New York chapter of One Taste and was well known as being an excellent salesperson. As you can imagine, she had many emails, personal correspondence, all kinds of things related to her time at One Taste. There may have even been some things on there that would have helped the defense. But, we'll never know, because what McGinnis did was tell her to delete her email account. She supposedly had journals of her time at One Taste. So McGinnis told her sister to mail him her journals so that if the defense requested them, she wouldn't have them. This is not mistake territory. I want to be really clear. This is tampering with evidence. It's the kind of thing that would land anyone else in jail, but because it's an FBI agent, it's up to prosecutorial discretion. And then those very same journals, the ones they put in the Netflix doc like they were some sacred text from the cult underground, Yeah, they're fake. Fake. Performed. Fabricated. And McGinnis? Either he knew and didn't care, or he didn't know and didn't bother to ask. Either way, he pushed for the journals to be used as key evidence to build a federal case. And she has now been dismissed as having perjured herself and fabricating evidence and is no longer involved in this case. It's not about justice. It never was. It's about control. Because when a woman doesn't collapse, doesn't comply, doesn't cry on cue, she's punished. It's not even subtle. And McGinnis made this case his little obsession project, his DIY legacy. But instead of catching a criminal, he created a mirror. And now everything he did, the fake evidence, the coerced testimonies, the procedural violations, they're all coming back. The mask is slipping. The case is falling apart. Because maybe the real crime wasn't that women were touching God through their bodies at one taste. Maybe it's that they were doing it without shame, without permission, and without cutting the state in on the profit. And in this empire of control, in this war on sex, women's freedom isn't just subversive, it's contraband. That wraps up episode 4 of Eros on Trial, my true crime series. Stay tuned for episode 5 soon.